Back in 2005, I was the technical editor of JP Magazine and was always on the hunt for a new Jeep. And I won't go into the story of exactly how I bought this 1997 Wrangler, but suffice to say, I got a really good deal on it from a person who really didn't know anything about vehicles. And it had been used and abused and needed a rear axle and a few other things. But I picked it up at a very good price. I went down there with my trailer and a wad of cash in my hand and didn't even really worry about any of it. But when I saw it, the condition of the interior, I really realized right away that everything was basically a write-off, which is not a bad thing in Jeeps, especially YJs and TJs, because the aftermarket supports them so strongly. And this being 2005 with the TJ still in current production, everybody was making everything in the world for them. So I loaded the thing on my trailer, dragged it home, and then gave it the standard post-purchase once-over, which is one of my favorite things to do with a vehicle. But this thing was dirty and scuzzy, to say the least. It had either a factory or an aftermarket, I don't know, soft top with the flip, the kind of sun flip thing where the front half of it would flip backwards. I forget what they call it. It's probably aftermarket. But he had just left that thing open. Oh, it seems like all the time, because the inside of this, both the floorboards, driver and passenger, were completely full of leaves and dirt and junk. And the seats, while not wet, they were filthy. They had stains and dirt in them, and unlike my YJ that I bought, thankfully there wasn't a lot of sticky coffee drinks and human hair and whatnot stuck in there. But I remember it had aftermarket cargo security lid on the back of it, and underneath there was, poker chips and nasty brush and all sorts of junk and garbage. And so, but the Jeep was a diamond in the rough, quite literally speaking. It was a factory 4-liter, had the factory AC. It was an automatic, which to me is kind of a downside, but it was the factory, I forget what they call them, 32 RFE, or basically the electronic version of the Torque Flight. And good 3-speed auto, had all the good parts that I kind of wanted as a core to build on. And the factory AC was a big selling point. And so after kind of assessing what I had, I went through and started, vacuuming out the leaves and cleaning some stuff out. I found, dollars of change literally stuck with, I don't know what was sticking them together, but like change was stuck in the folds of this Jeep everywhere. And the soft top was a write-off. Not only had it seen the better part of its life wear used up, someone had broken into it for something and they just slashed the side of it. I think if memory serves, that Jeep didn't even have locking doors, but regardless, someone had cut the top to get in, and the underside of the fold area on the front was like actually sun bleached. So it was good enough to keep the rain off till I could figure out what to do next. So I started vacuuming and cleaning, and it quickly became apparent I needed to almost gut the interior. So I pulled the front seats out and hit all the plastic with some 409 cleaner and a stiff brush. And I spent the better part of a couple hours just scrubbing that thing to get it to where I wouldn't feel skeevy putting my kids in it. But got the inside cleaned well enough, and then gave it a quick mechanical. Everything more or less worked aside from the rear axle, which maybe I'll get into in a different video. But everything worked except for the multifunction switch was bad, which on these TJs, it's a common known error, it's a common known issue, especially if you've been leaving it with the top off and moisture gets in there. So it was a quick fix. I think I ordered a new one from Crown, from Quadratech or someplace like that. Popped it in, and then the thing was a driver. It was good enough to start getting me around. The tires were pretty dry rotted, and you know, it had some other stuff. But after I put a new Dana 35 in the back that I bought off Craigslist for $50, I started driving it to work. And back then, I was commuting from San Diego up to the office in Beverly Hills on Wilshire Boulevard almost every day of the week. So I needed to rely on this thing and actually drive it. So the factory seats were okay. I got them clean enough to where I wasn't, you know, constantly skeeved out. I think the steering wheel leather had started to come apart, so I bought one of those, you know, cheap carbon fiber overlay things just to stick on it, so I wouldn't be peeling things off of my hand when I turned a corner, and drove it for a little while until it got to the point where the rains were coming. I think I bought this thing in December or November, if memory serves. And so San Diego, that's the wet time of year. And so before it started raining inside the Jeep, I ordered up a now discontinued two-piece best top hardtop. So it was a really nice hardtop. Was not cheap, but it was well worth the money. Best Top makes the factory soft tops for Jeep, has for a long time, I think still does. And so, you know, it's a name that I trust when I'm looking for top components for any Jeep vehicle or any vehicle that for that matter. They make a really good product. And true to form, it arrived on a crate at the shipping department at my office. I drove my F-250 up there, loaded it in with a buddy, and brought it home. I think, if memory serves, it was bolted to the crate, just like it would bolt to the side of the tub. And took a little while, but I unboxed it, unbolted it, and I installed it myself with no help. It went on with no drama, and it fit great and didn't leak. I honestly never pulled the front piece off. I don't think I ever took that top off again after I put it on, but it was really nice. It was really quiet. You get the lift rear glass and everything. So it was a nice aftermarket alternative to at the time, very expensive hardtop. So I remember, I think at the time pricing out used hardtops, it was right in the same ballpark as getting the aftermarket two-piece best top. And then I had the additional benefit of, I think the best top was a little better insulated. It had a nice kind of fleece or some material flocking on the inside. It had some overhead cargo nets and stuff, and so it was pretty nice. So I drove it with the hardtop for a little while until the factory seats were just they were kind of crunched and torn, and they had just served their purpose and they were done. So I ordered up some new seats for it, and when they arrived, I took the opportunity to do the final round of interior upgrades. And so I gutted the interior, pulled everything out, took the factory console out, in fact, and gave it an additional scrub down. So I really got that thing clean. Installed a Tuffy Security insert in there, just so my valuables wouldn't walk away. And then I unceremoniously ripped out the old carpet that had, you know, it was half rotten and still smelled kind of mold and other who knows what. So that came out, and I think the new carpet was an ACC, an auto custom carpet that I got from Quadratech. If memory serves, I ordered most of the things for this Jeep through Quadratech. And so it was pretty easy install on the carpet. It went a bit against my better judgment putting carpet in a Wrangler. Normally I gut them, and you know, that way you can hose it out or whatever. But again, this was my commuter going about 1,000 miles a week. And so I wanted it nice and quiet and kind of comfortable. So I laid the old carpet over the new one. You had to cut out, you know, your mounting holes and things like that. So it was pretty quick. Laid it in. Everything fit fairly well, and it looked great. Then put the console back in, and the seats I ordered were new at the time, the Mastercraft Baja RS, and so they very importantly reclined. So that was if you have a Wrangler and you have seats that don't tilt forward or recline, you're just, I had two small kids and I had to put their car seat in the back of this thing, so that was a must-have. But the Baja RS, their suspension seats, super comfortable, good side bolsters. And at the time, I'm not sure if they still offer the brackets, but they had adapter brackets that allowed the seats to bolt right to the factory seat hardware. So you kept your slide forward and backwards and all that stuff. And they were really high quality seat. Even the tilt lever was knurled aluminum, a machined big solid chunk of aluminum. So with those seats in there, it was super comfortable to drive. It made my commute to and from the office quite a different experience than with the old crushed seats. I no longer arrived needing a chiropractor to go over me. But I enjoyed it like that for a while. The rear seat, I needed the rear seat, and the factory one was stained beyond fixing, but it was still solid and not crushed and in good condition. So I got a Mastercraft seat cover for it, which matched the material on the side, the vinyl on the side of the suspension seats. It went on great, fit wonderfully, and it looked awesome. And it was a really good upgrade to the factory rear seat. And finally, again, going against my normal practices on a Jeep, I upgraded the stereo system. I think I left the factory head unit in there, although I may have put an Alpine or something in there. But if memory serves, I either got it from Quadratech or Crutchfield, but I put in some upgraded Clarion speakers to replace. I think one of the factory speakers was blown and the other didn't sound so good. And so I got these Clarion speakers with some conversion adapter brackets, which they bolted right in behind the dash. So it was a really good upgrade and made it a driver. And everything I did to it was I didn't change anything on that interior the whole time I owned the Jeep. Owned it for several years. I went through some other major upgrades, which again I may cover on this channel. But again, if you're looking for a Jeep to buy and it's got a roached out interior, that shouldn't be a deal breaker. Just make sure you adjust your price to your offering price to reflect some of those upgrades you can make, and you'll wind up with a much better Jeep than what left the factory in most cases.